folks. Welcome to a podcast about Catholic things. This is Eric, the Ambassador of Common Sense, and I'm here with...
Dan, your Ambassador of Nonsense. Welcome, everyone.
And I don't know why I say this when it happens, but we did miss a week. We were gonna record last week, and then we didn't record, and it was like just busy schedules. And
yeah, but you know what? There's a payoff because we brought a treat for you this time.
Yeah.
Other than our talk. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay. So, but today we talked last week. We said we were going to talk about Saint Michael, the Archangel, and maybe a little bit about angels in general. So
that's right.
That's what we're going to talk about.
That's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to just go through some things about Saint Michael that I've been able to find, and then we will get into angels in general and the different choirs. They call them the celestial choirs. There's traditionally 9 choirs of angels,
right?
And kind of how they relate to each other and how they relate to God and how they relate to us. These are things that are the information for them is. I think some of the references are kind of obscure in Scripture. The various Catholic theologians and Scripture scholars have really had to tease some of these out, but it has grown into a fairly solid tradition of Catholic belief. None of this is, of course, dogmatic, and I don't think there's much of it that's even defined teaching. But it's considered fairly sound,
right?
As far as Catholic belief goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so first, Saint Michael. We know about Saint Michael. We know about a few of the archangels, but Saint Michael figures in the Bible specifically by name 4 different times. One of them is 2 of them are in the book of Daniel. One is in Daniel 10. Verse 13. It's basically Daniel is, he's kind of a prophet. You see stories about Daniel during the Babylonian captivity, and so he's a prophet, and so there's a prophetic book. And in part of chapter 10, it says, "And behold, a hand touched me and set me trembling on my hands and knees, and he said to me, O Daniel, man greatly beloved, give heed to the words that I speak to you, and stand upright, for now I have been sent to you. While he was speaking this word to me, I stood up trembling. Then he said to me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your mind to understand and humbled yourself before your God, your words have been heard, and I have come because of your words. The prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, but Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, so I left him there with the prince of the kingdom of Persia, and came to make you understand what is to befall your people in the latter days. For the vision is for days yet to come." So an angel is showing up to Daniel saying, I'm going to give you a vision of days to come. And this angel says, I almost couldn't come here because I was contending with the prince of Persia, but Michael came and took over for me, and he's, I guess, more capable. So
yeah,
so that freed me to come
Michael
talk to you.
Michael comes and saves
it's
the day. It's these... like, but any angel of God, how did? I think we're supposed to take the Prince of Persia not as a person, but as like a demon.
Maybe a demon. Maybe contending with the prince of the kingdom of Persia. It said he withstood me 21 days, but Michael came to help me. So what does that really mean? Does that mean that he was contending with a demon? Perhaps that God let some kind of battle of wills between this angel and a demon that was either sort of influencing the prince of Persia. Perhaps even possessing him. Who knows? But when you see these things, you have to take the words of the angels at face value from their point of view, They're kind of just telling you. Obviously, there are things that they could tell you maybe what, kind of the deep reality, but we probably wouldn't understand it if they tried. So, it leaves it to a little bit of speculation on some of that.
Yeah. It's just, it's odd how, even the angels at this introduction of Michael, we've got angels doing fighting, but we consider them kind of these heavenly creatures who have unlimited power. Now, if they're fighting a demon who has the same kind of power, but you would think them being good angels, there would be an easy win. Because it's not like one angel could kill another angel.
Right. No. But, part of this fighting, part of this contention may often be over the wills of men. It may be that God wants angels to contend over our wills, and that our wills are a significant part of what sort of weighs in the battle.
Yeah.
When we read things like this.
Yeah, it's odd.
Because God, even given the nature of angels to, have, like you said, they have almost unlimited power if they want it over the earthly realm. And yet God desires our nature as free-willed creatures to also apply. And so, we have free will, we can make decisions, and ultimately the decisions are ours. All right. In the same book, right at the beginning of chapter 12, it's talking about the resurrection of the dead, the coming resurrection of the dead and the eschaton. I'm just going to read the first part that mentions Michael. It says, "At that time shall arise Michael, the great prince, who has charge of your people." And this is interesting. So Michael is here being identified specifically as a protector of the people of Israel, the Jews.
Yeah, I guess we've always Saint Michael's been considered like the guardian of the Jewish people at various times.
Right. And now of the church. That's why we have that's why the Pope, composed the prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel when he saw the demons around the city of Rome.
Yeah, and added Saint Michael to several times in the Mass. Now, I'm trying to think. It's been a while since I've been to the Novus Ordo. Is Saint Michael even mentioned in the Novus Ordo?
No. I think so. He used to be mentioned. First of all, he was mentioned in the Confiteor, right? Twice, actually. And then wasn't he also mentioned? I don't think he was mentioned in the canon. Maybe not. But he was mentioned in the Confiteor twice, and then the prayer to Saint Michael after Mass. He might have been mentioned somewhere in the canon.
Yeah, I can't think of him being mentioned at all in the new Mass.
I don't think he is. I don't think anywhere. It's like we've cast off our protection.
And the Confiteors said three times throughout the Mass, and each time Saint Michael is invoked. And then, like you said, at there's another part that he's mentioned too, and I can't remember what it is. But
you'll think of it next time you're at Mass.
Yeah,
you have your book.
But he is considered after being the protector of the Jewish people, he's now the protector of the Catholic Church because after the covenant was fulfilled. But I wonder if his place
Jerusalem
is still if he's still recognized as the protector of Jewish people,
kind of keeping them from being completely destroyed during the diaspora until they come.
Because it seems like something is, because several times
doesn't it?
People have tried to wipe them out.
Yeah, it's been 2,000 years. We know the Holy Spirit protects the church, but who's protecting the Jews? They're still around.
Yeah.
Okay, the third place that Saint Michael is mentioned by name is... Okay, so Jude is writing... it's addressed to those who are called beloved in God the Father and kept for Jesus Christ. So I don't know exactly who he's writing to in these, in his book, but he's talking about judgment on the ungodly. He says, "Yet in like manner, these men in their dreamings defile the flesh, reject authority, revile the glorious ones. But when the Archangel Michael, contending with the devil, disputed about the body of Moses, he did not presume to pronounce a reviling judgment upon him, but said, 'The Lord rebuke you.'"
Contending over the body of Moses.
Right. And I think this is a reference perhaps to, there's a kind of, you know how like Elijah was taken up in the fiery chariot. And then in the New Testament, we have the Assumption of Our Lady. She wasn't taken up in a chariot. We have the tradition of the Dormition of Mary, but then she was assumed bodily into heaven. Well, there's some tradition, not specifically referenced in the Bible, that Moses perhaps was assumed into heaven as well. Mm-hmm. And so this may be a reference to that.
Yeah, because, Moses is one of the people who appear with Jesus to talk at the Transfiguration.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. It's Moses and Elijah.
Yeah, and Elijah, we know, according to tradition, was taken up into heaven. But I don't think the same way that the Virgin Mary was. No. I mean, Elijah he didn't die, right?
It's like he stepped into a fiery chariot and was taken up.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyway, so Michael, is seen here as sort of a courier of the just dead into heaven, I suppose, is perhaps, what might be taken from that. And then in the book of Revelation specifically, we have the part where Michael defeats the dragon. The war arose in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they were defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. And that's where we get the tradition of Michael, the common visual of Michael defeating Satan. Often he's got his head or neck underfoot, and he might be holding a spear or a sword or something like that. Kind of Michael as the warrior. So that's where we get that. Now, these are 4 specific times that Michael's mentioned by name. The church fathers also attribute 4 additional angelic references in Scripture to Saint Michael. One is the angel guarding paradise and the tree of life in Genesis.
Okay.
I never even realized that. I never thought of that as Michael. The church fathers believed that Michael may have been the angel who forged the 10 Commandments into the stone tablets.
Okay. Does it say that a angel did that, or?
I wasn't even aware that an angel did that, but hand of God perhaps.
Yeah, because that's I can't even think of any Bible verses concerning that. I can only think of Charlton Heston saying, "Written by the finger of God."
That's and the great big fiery
that giant
thing coming through and burning the letters into the tablets.
Yeah, that whole movie was epic.
Yeah, it was. But the truth is that a lot of the stuff that God does, he seems to do through angels. He likes to work through angels to do things.
I don't think that's very surprising, considering that when he works
either.
Here on Earth, he wants to work through people. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes just through nature.
Yeah, that's true. That's why the concept of providence plays such a large role in our understanding of our, relationship with God and of God's interaction with history and so forth.
Yeah, it was kind of like at the fall, or before the fall, God was almost in constant communication with man. And at the fall, it was like you lost access to this for now.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that he doesn't grant it from time to time, but he's not there the way he used to be. And now we're going more and more through either people or angels or just his natural works.
Okay, the third one is, and I have to admit that I remember reading this and it was a weird story. So there's this fellow in the Old Testament. I don't know exactly how you say his name. Balaam, perhaps Balaam, and I forget whether he's like a prophet or what. Maybe the Moabites, enemies of the Israelites, want to perhaps consult with him or something like that. But anyway, he's going out to meet them. And Michael the Archangel keeps standing in the way of his donkey, and the donkey sees the Archangel, and so he turns aside and goes into a field. And eventually Balaam ends up having this conversation with his donkey. I don't know whether Michael was speaking through the donkey or what at that time. But anyway, the church fathers seem to think that also was Michael.
Okay. Possibly. I mean, is it his donkey, or is it like maybe Michael appearing as a donkey? Well,
it's the man's donkey, and the donkey
Okay.
sees Michael, an angel with a fiery sword, and the donkey turns aside, and the man can't get the donkey to go on the road that he's trying to get on.
Okay.
But eventually he ends up having a conversation with his donkey.
Well, I can see that, because I've talked to animals and start yelling at them, get your... Blah, 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 blah. I yell at the dog.
Yeah.
Especially when they won't do what you want them to do, and donkeys are famous for this. He must have thought it was just being stubborn.
Okay, so then there's in Kings the king of Assyria comes against the Jews, and his army is repelled and by an angel of God, and so they think that may have been Michael as well. So we've got 4 references by name and 4 references in scriptures that are believed to be Michael. And so based on those, the church has come up with 4 things that Michael is generally credited with doing or being responsible for. One is fighting against Satan. That's obvious from Revelation.
Yeah.
One is rescuing souls from the power of the enemy, especially at the hour of death. This has to do with, for example, his fighting for the body of Moses in Jude.
Yeah.
One is championing God's people, the Jews in the Old Testament and the Christians in the New Testament. That's why he's the patron of the church.
Okay.
And then the other one is similar to the second one, but perhaps a little bit different. He's credited with calling men's souls away from earth to bring them to judgment. So whether the judgment's going to turn out good for them or not, Michael seems to be involved with that, according to the church.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, one of the interesting things, and now we're going to start getting in a little bit into... and by the way, I'll say this, that I tried to look for references to, because we've talked about saints, and we have a saint each week, and we might bring up certain miracles that occur after their death and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, are there any physical miracles that are attributed to Saint Michael? Like somebody prayed to Saint Michael for a certain kind of, I don't know, healing or something like that. There are a few people that attribute seemingly miraculous events to his intercession, but not any specific miracles of the kind that the church would consider if they were, for example, investigating the cause of a saint or something like that. None that reached that level. But there have also been some appearances of Saint Michael the Archangel.
Yeah, we've talked about a few of them.
Yeah,
in the saints we talked about
in the age of the church. Right. He appears to saints.
He even appeared in Fatima.
Yeah. I tried to find out when he first started showing up in Catholic art. According to the New Advent Catholic Encyclopedia, the sort of winged angels concept didn't really start showing up in art until around the time of Constantine. So we're talking 4th century. The oldest existing examples of winged angels are seen in some of the bas reliefs of Carthage. And there's a representation on ivory of Saint Michael. Those are attributed to the 4th century as well. So, 300 to 400 years into the church, we start seeing art depicting Saint Michael. I cannot find anything that explains explicitly when Saint Michael first started being mentioned in the Mass historically.
Oh, okay.
So I just don't know. His name is Hebrew for who is like God. A lot of times I see it with a question mark afterwards. I don't think that is really what's intended. I think it's more like one who is like God, because he appears that way, when he reveals himself in some kind of visual manner to someone.
Yeah. Jimmy Akins did a podcast on angels and kind of went into the language of that, about Saint Michael specifically.
Oh, okay.
But I can't, for the world, remember exactly what he said. But because it was kind of like it had something to do with when they would talk about the sons of God as opposed to the daughters of men, perhaps in some cases in the Old Testament. Yeah,
there was a special area where they were talking about that. So did Jimmy Akins say that those referred to angels?
It's possible, but it's possible not.
Yeah.
In would be some weird. Cases, somehow they'd have to obviously does, but in other cases it might not. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's odd because Saint Michael is recognized by a lot of other religions, not just by Christians and Jews. He's obviously recognized by Muslims, but also like weird religions like Hindus.
No kidding.
And there are other religions recognize Saint Michael the Archangel for some reason.
That makes you, for that to be the case, that almost suggests a common historical link.
Yeah.
Like for example, there's a lot of cultures that have kind of like a ancient flood story within their cultural heritage. Well, when you look at that, you think, oh, okay, well, that's kind of evidence that's supporting evidence for the flood depicted in the Bible to have perhaps been a real thing, which, of course, we believe it was a real thing, but it's good reason for non-Christians and non-Jews to believe that it was a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay. One other thing that's really curious is that the church fathers are in, and church theologians are in some disagreement about, first of all, where to place Michael specifically and where to place archangels more generally, of which we know, I think there are 7. At one point, one of the archangels is speaking to someone and he gives a number that causes us to believe that there are 7 in all. And 3 of them we know are Gabriel, who announced the word to Mary, Michael, and then Raphael, who I can't think of accompanied the guy on in the Book of Ruth to find a wife.
Yeah.
But some of the church doctors think that Michael, being the Prince of Angels, was the true prince of all the celestial beings, other than God, of course. Even so they place him as like the prince of the seraphim.
Right.
The seraphs are the top kind of the order of angels within the celestial sphere. Thomas Aquinas and others take kind of a more strict meaning of the term angel and claim that the archangels are the highest among the lowest of the celestial choirs. So the angels themselves, which are really kind of like our guardian angels, they're the lowest rung of the celestial choirs. And he says that Michael the Archangel, that the archangels themselves are simply sort of the top 7 of those, whether designated to rule over the angels or what, I don't know. So some disagreement on that and how to interpret the term archangel. So, for example, on the one hand, we could say, let's talk about all the different angels. We'll start with, seraphim and cherubim and thrones and dominions and stuff. Okay, we're calling all of those angels, but then we get down to the bottom one and we say, and finally we have the angels. So,
yeah, but where is he defined as an archangel? Is that as opposed to some other angel, or is it, you know what I mean? Why do we call him an archangel as opposed to other angels, like the angel of death?
So for example, in Daniel 10, it refers to him as one of the chief princes.
Okay.
And then in Daniel 12...
the great prince who has charge over your people.
Yeah, Michael, the great prince. Jude, let's see, refers to him as...
the fact that he's contending with the devil himself.
He refers to him as the archangel. At least my...
Oh, okay, yeah, the translation does. So there was...
I've got the Revised Standard Version, Catholic edition.
An understanding of the archangels being different when the Bible...
Right.
Or so when these letters were written.
Archangel, yeah, but what was actually, in the Hebrew, I don't know, or Greek or whatever it is he wrote. Jude probably wrote Greek or something.
It's odd that even Jude's point there that the archangel who we see as there to fight Satan didn't pronounce judgment, but said the Lord rebuked you.
Judgment for God.
So. Even the highest of beings, of creatures that God created, still don't judge people, but simply says, God rebuke you.
God judges you. Now, it's kind of interesting. I may be reading too much into what may be an imperfect English translation. I don't know. But in Revelation, it says, war rose in heaven, Michael and his angels.
Yeah.
Fighting against the dragon. So it implies that Michael has charge over other angels.
Right.
So that's from the 4 specific verses, that's what we get. There's one place where, for whatever reason, the translators decided to go with the term archangel.
Yeah, okay.
Now, whether they use that same term in relation to like Gabriel and Raphael, I don't know. We'd have to go find that out. Okay, let's talk about angels generally. So the church recognizes 9, what commonly we might refer to them as celestial choirs in traditional Catholic theology or angelology, whatever you want to call it. These are based on Scripture. And I haven't gone and looked up the actual specific scriptural references and the reasons why they're placed in this order. But here they are. So first, the highest among them are the seraphim. They attend to God on his throne, and when they're seen by people that, are chosen to reveal things to, they have 6 wings, 2 to cover their faces, 2 to cover their feet, and 2 for flying. Maybe they have to cover their faces and their feet because of being so close to the throne of God. I don't know, but that's how they're depicted.
And what do they do? It
just says they attend to God on his throne.
I think that
so
that kind of...
I wonder if they're like messengers to the other angels or what.
Enjoy God or...
Not quite enjoy, because that's what you see with the cherubim.
Okay.
So the cherubim are closely linked to God's glory. They symbolize God's power, and they're alluded to in Revelation. They have intimate knowledge of God and continually praise him. The cherubim seem to be there for the purpose of knowing, praising, and enjoying God.
Okay.
But not necessarily doing anything. That God wants them to just behold him.
I tried reading a lot of what St. Thomas wrote about the angels, and I guess if I had a whole lot of time, I might have been able to make better sense of it. But I kind of got lost. But the idea I got was that the angels kind of have a shared knowledge. Whereas one might learn something and other angels would learn it through that one. But not learning for real because angels don't learn.
Oh, right.
Is it possible that these angels kind of channel the glory of all the other angels or give the other angels the beatific vision? Something of that nature?
That could be. That's one of the things that I actually forgot to look up whether there's an opinion on that. Do the angels share, or will the angels share in the beatific vision in the way that we will, being grafted into Christ himself and being his body and united with him, the actual Son of God? I don't know that the angels will ever enjoy that the way we will.
Probably not, considering they don't have bodies. So we're going to be able to enjoy it physically, aside from spiritually.
Right, but the beatific vision is not a physical thing.
Yeah, I know.
Because it existed prior to Christ becoming man.
Yeah, but it was only by Christ becoming man that we were able to become...
That we become Christ. Yeah, exactly.
So I guess it's just one of those mystery things that... we're going to have to wait till we get there.
That's right. But, your thought about angels channeling God's glory, but also perhaps, in some sense, channeling God's knowledge.
Right.
That'll come up a little bit later. Not specifically the way you said it, but something that's coming up makes me think of that. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
Okay, so then after the seraphim and the cherubim, we have the thrones. These are angels of pure humility, peace, and submission. So these are completely submissive to God. They're considered to be... Now, this is interesting. So what I read was they're considered to occupy the part of the cosmos where the material world is just taking form. But that's not really like a space of the cosmos. That's more like a conceptual aspect of the entire cosmos. So it's like they're on the edge of of material formation in the cosmos. It's said that the lower angelic choirs are considered to need the thrones in order to approach God. So in order to approach God, they have to go through these angels of humility, peace, and submission. Because nothing that can be in God's presence can have, disturbance or lack of humility or submission or anything like that.
Right. That's a hard one to understand.
Yeah. Yeah, these are, it's like, wow, you could like think about these and really delve and dig and go read St. Thomas and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And would take a long time. So next, we've got the Seraphim, Cherubim, Thrones, and now the Dominions. They are angels of leadership. It says they regulate the duties of angels, making known God's commands for them. So I guess the duties of when it says duties of angels, maybe they mean of all the angels lower than them, or perhaps they mean specifically the like guardian angels and stuff, the archangels and guardian angels. I don't know. But it says they regulate the duties of angels. Under the dominions are the virtues. These are spirits of motion. They control the elements. They're sometimes called the shining ones. And these angels have full control over the physical universe. It's of their nature to be able to completely manipulate the material world. They're in charge of miracles. They provide courage, grace, and valor. And I guess, some of the demons must also be fallen virtues, because
I was
how when they possess someone, they're able to manipulate the material world in and around them.
Because we've talked about it sometime at a couple different points that that demons are able to manipulate the physical world. I guess maybe only some of them can. And that's why say, when someone's being possessed, there are always several different demons and several different levels of demons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably very similar hierarchy in hell as to what we have among these angels in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
All right, under the virtues, we have the powers, also known as potentates. That always brings that Ray Stevens song to my mind.
Also known as what?
Potentates.
I don't know that word.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you about it. But P-O-T-E-N-T-A-T-E, it really just means power holder.
Okay, that sounds to me like Putintain. Ask me again, I'll tell you the same.
Potentates.
Okay.
A power holder or power wielder. These are warriors. They defend the cosmos and the human race against evil. They fight evil spirits who attempt to wreak chaos, especially those who wreak chaos through the work of men. So the virtues are in control of the physical universe. The powers are defending the order of the physical universe against evil spirits, and the order of human history against evil spirits.
You would think we would have more prayers to them.
We would have more what?
Prayers to them.
Yes, you would think.
You'd think they'd be talked about more when
true.
In prayer, because it would seem like you'd need their help
on them all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. After the powers are the principalities. They care for earthly principalities such as cities and nations. So if the powers try to protect the overall arc of history, the principalities seem to associate themselves for particular human polities and organizations within history. Now, this is interesting, and I haven't gone and looked up the scripture for this, but what I read is that scripturally, they are depicted as being hostile to humans because of sin, and even hostile to God wanting to provide welfare for men because of sin. It's not like they're hostile to God the way demons are. Demons hate humans because God loves humans, and they hate God, and they want to hate everything God loves. These principalities see the sinfulness of man, and they seem to have a sort of sense of justice that God shouldn't be trying to save men.
Kind of like
so there's a certain hostility there. But they were created for Christ, and He rules over them as part of His completeness of salvation. Kind
of like the prodigal son's brother.
Yeah, kind of like that, I think. That could be perhaps a good example. It's kind of funny. when Jesus was telling that parable, maybe he had a few of them in mind.
Yeah. I see. I think all angels are hostile to men. You don't really see angels ever being nice to man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't think you can... There's only one instance in the entire Bible where an angel is even respectful to
and that's
men.
Gabriel.
Right. Because...
Yeah. We'll have more to say about that later, too.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the next are the archangels. What I could find out is that archangels are especially commissioned by God to convey messages and to aid specific humans in particular circumstances. So, for example, unlike, say, guardian angels, that a particular angel is assigned to a particular person, and they don't generally go and interact, guardian angels don't generally interact with people in some manifested way. They're not associated with delivering a message of God or something like that. They're just there for the care of that person. But archangels, these are messengers that go interact with people. We know from Scripture that there are 7, but we only don't know the names of 3. And here's what's interesting. Archangels, there's disagreement about whether they're confined to this lower sphere. Like I said, a lot of the church fathers place Michael among the seraphim. So this makes me wonder if maybe the archangels are all angels of the higher spheres that are like, maybe God picked 7 specific angels from the higher spheres for certain purposes directly related to human history and as overseeing and aiding the guardian angels and stuff like that.
That's how I thought of it. I thought archangels were at the top.
Well, what would be interesting is maybe these archangels, if there are 7 of them, maybe there's one from each of the higher choirs, because there are 7 choirs above the archangels.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Just a little speculation there.
Okay.
And then under the archangels, we've got finally the angels. These are the lowest order. They include our guardian angels. They interact with humans on an individual basis. Not like archangels will go to different humans according to God's needs. I think the angels, like an angel will interact with an individual human just for his needs.
Right.
They are solicitous of our need for help. They want to help us. God built into them the desire to help us and the desire to see us succeed in fulfilling the will of God. They carry our prayers to heaven, and it's said that they have, and this is the thing that kind of triggered in my mind when you said about how angels, how do they maybe share knowledge? Do the angels, maybe the higher angels, convey, or are they like instruments of God's glory to each other, conduits, say? The angels are said to have immediate access to all the other angels and all the other choirs. So, for example, if a guardian angel may need, they may see something going on and say, okay, it's not going to be a big miracle in the sense that you can see something violated the laws of physics, but I really need this car to go a certain way, or I need this tree to fall a certain way, or something like that. And, he could then say, call on the virtues or something to help.
I can't remember what it's called, but he described it as the dawn of something or a window of something in angels, in describing how they learn or how they are presented with knowledge.
You're talking about morning knowledge and evening knowledge, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We talked about that, and we really had that wrong. There was a podcast I listened to. I'll have to go and find that. It was a podcast by the Thomistic Institute.
Okay.
It was not a podcast podcasted. It was just a speech. The Thomistic Institute has these presentations at various college campuses and stuff. And this woman was talking about morning knowledge and evening knowledge. And she gave a really good explanation, which I can't off the top of my head remember. I'll have to go back and find that. And when I do, we'll bring it back up and talk about it. But we were completely wrong about what that meant.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
So.
Okay. All right, well
But
then
we admit
I won't
when
bring
we're
it up
wrong.
now. Yeah. Okay, so the guardian angels are the guardian angels. I mean, obviously, for anything to happen, God has to have his God has to grant permission. But
Right.
whereas everything an archangel would do would be commanded by God, like help him do this, deliver this message. Would a guardian angel be able to make more decisions on his own, or is it simply carrying out God's will for that person? You know,
That's a good question.
If somebody needs to save me from this car accident, who decided to do that?
Well, yeah, that's, and is your guardian angel, does your guardian angel communicate with other guardian angels too? It's like, well, okay,
Yeah.
if he dies in this car accident, because, I don't think the angels can tell the future. The angels can,
Right.
they can know the results, I think, to an infinite degree of any deterministic process.
Right.
Like when you go and break a set of billiard balls, as soon as the cue hits as soon as the stick hits the cue ball. I think any angel probably knows exactly where every ball's going to end up, for example. Okay.
Right.
But as far as like decision making, they don't see all of history laid out before them the way God does.
Right.
Except to the extent that God might reveal that to them. So you might be in a car crash and your angel's, hey, he is in a state of higher grace now than he's ever been. If I let this car crash happen and he dies, as it surely will cause, he's going to go to heaven. But then you've got the maybe guardian angels of your children communicating with him, saying, no, don't let him die yet because his kids still need them. There's a good chance that they'll fail if he's not around to help, bring them on the journey and so forth. So that who knows what kind of interactions go on. And of course it's instantaneous all the time.
And we don't know
level we
really
couldn't even comprehend
if there's an actual decision made by angels.
Right.
I mean, that we don't know that yet, right?
We know that it's not a deliberation in the sense that we think of it, because deliberation
Not like a
is
judgment.
a physical process of our brains.
Okay.
And we know that doesn't quite happen the way in angels, the way it does in us. But there is a principle of will in the angels. They will to act in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
all right, that's all I have on angels.
Okay.
But
That's interesting.
it is interesting. And you mentioned Gabriel as the one example throughout the entirety of Scripture that an angel was even genuinely respectful of a human being, and that kind of brings me to something I want to bring this up. This is an insight that I've had, and I'm going to start talking about it, but I'm not going to give. I'm not going to explain it completely. I'm not going to put the whole concept in words yet, and I'm going to bring us to the point and then say, this is what I think.
Okay.
So I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy made mention of the distinction when somebody's talking between the word and the voice.
Say that again?
Got me.
When
what's
someone
that?
What? Say
Made a
that last-
distinction. He mentioned the distinction between the word and the voice when someone's talking.
Okay.
When you're talking, you're using your voice, but you're saying words.
Okay.
But there's
I
a
see.
difference between the word and your voice, but the spoken word doesn't exist without the voice. And so if you think of what is the difference and how do they relate to each other, a word is the thing that matters. The word is the meaning. It's the concept, the point, the reason for it all. And the voice is just a physical, a material, you could say, expression of the word. The voice is what takes the word, the meaning, and encodes it into a series of vibrations of air or whatever other medium, and gives it a physical existence so that it can be received by another. So you talk, your voice takes the words in your head, which are the meanings you're trying to convey, gives them physical existence outside of you that the air then carries to other people so they can hear them and interpret the voice, and by comprehending the voice, they receive the word that you spoke. Okay, so take that thought for a minute, set it aside, and now think about what is it that allows your voice to speak words? What puts the power of making words, or of representing words, of presenting words in a material way to your voice? It's your breath. You have to breathe in order to speak. Your breath is what powers the voice to put the word into a physical reality, a physical existence, manifestation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, take all that together and think of Christ as the Word of God. Do you see where I'm going with this yet?
Yeah.
Where did Christ, the Word, get his physical existence, his physical reality, presentation, manifestation from Mary? And how was that accomplished? By the Holy Spirit, which from the earliest times of Christianity, the Holy Spirit was associated with the breath of God. Even in the gospel, it says Jesus breathed on the apostles and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit."
Okay.
I think, and I've just scratched the surface and presented a metaphorical sort of foundation. But I think that there's a reality here that can be understood deeply analogically, that can form the basis for a very solid Catholic understanding of Mary as the voice of God, the Vox Dei.
Okay.
Now,
I can see
I could
that,
not find anything anywhere on Google that anybody had ever said this before. So 100 years from now, when some pope, a pope better than Francis, grants Mary the title Voice of God.
The voice of God.
Just remember, folks, you heard it here first.
She's not the Word. God only spoke one word.
Jesus is the Word. Mary's the voice of God.
Mary's the voice.
I think there's a reality there to be explored.
Okay. I'd have to think about that for a while. It's a little bit...
I've been thinking about it all week. Just waiting to say this.
You'd have to... It's a little bit deep to react to.
I mean, it's almost jarring, but it works in every way that you can come at it.
Okay.
So folks, go think about that. Leave comments.
Okay. Have you seen an angel? Have you interacted with angels?
Oh my! Other than praying to Saint Michael and my guardian angel, no.
Really?
No, not that I'm aware of.
You've never had like some kind of supernatural.
I've never had an experience where I said, "Oh, that was." Oh, wait. Okay, not supernatural. I'll let me give you this. I was walking with some buddies in college. We were going to go caving.
Yeah.
And we had a general sense of where we needed to go in order to find a certain cave entrance. But,
which caves were these?
Well, these were in Indiana by Whitehall.
I know.
I
The
think
name
like
of it.
Buckner Cave and those.
Buckner? Okay.
Kind of the same ones that I was able to take you directly to when we went.
Yeah, I knew the names of some of them, and I'm just wondering which one you're talking
Trapdoor,
about.
stuff like that. Beaver Hole. Anyway, So we were walking through the woods trying to find, because we had just the vaguest of directions. Oh yeah, go in here, follow this creek line, go to, stuff like that. And we were kind of lost. I mean, not really lost. We could. It's not like we're lost, couldn't find a way out of the woods, but kind of like, okay, we have no idea where we are relative to this. Are we close at all? Hot, cold, whatever. We didn't know. But there was a hill, and I said, well, let me go up on that hill and see what I can see. And so I went up to do like recon for everybody. I got up there, and at the top of the hill, it was like this farmhouse. And there was a gravel driveway, and then another, kind of like a drive that went off to the side and went down to some areas where there was like maybe some silos or something like that. And so I got up into this, and there were suddenly 3 of these dogs that looked like, they had the spots of a Dalmatian, but they had more of the kind of shape of, I don't know, some kind of a bulldog or something like that.
Okay.
Not quite like what you would associate with a pit bull, but they were more bullish. But anyway, they were barking and they were mean and they did not look friendly even a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, oh crap, what am I 2 things. What am I going to do? Huh. And how am I going to keep my buddies, who are certainly trudging up the hill now, from coming anywhere near this?
Yeah.
So then I looked down the place where the driveway went off out to some silos or whatever, and I saw this Doberman Pinscher coming down the kind of running down the driveway.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
man,
my
you're
God.
getting attacked left and right.
They're all over. I was just like, okay, this isn't going to end well at all. But here's the thing, that Doberman Pinscher got to me, and he didn't attack me. Instead, what he did was he turned away from me, and anywhere that those dogs were... Now, he didn't bark, he didn't make a sound. But anywhere that those other dogs were, he faced them and kept himself between me and them.
Wow.
The whole time I was there, my buddies came up, and it's like, okay, guys, come on, we need to get out to the street there. But, and then...
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this guy seems to be taking care of us. Let's not, presume on his help for too long. But it was just like that. And then we got out to the street. The other dogs kept like barking. They were kind of like getting more, like barking higher pitch, like they're more angry, like that we're going away. But he just kind of stayed quiet and stayed in front of them and kept them from coming towards us.
I think that's something. Yeah.
So I associate that with my guardian angel.
I wonder how many things like that happen that we'll never know. And it's like, was that an angel? Because you hear all the time
Exactly.
people, I was in a car accident and somebody helped me out. And then when I looked for the guy, he was gone. Things like that.
Right. Right. Well, like your wife's wedding ring or something like that. That kind of stuff. That never happened to me.
Okay.
That level of miraculous.
I should briefly describe that story. We did in another podcast, but for someone who hasn't heard,
go ahead and tell it.
I had a wedding ring. Got a job in Blue Ash every morning. When you open your window and put your hand out the window and start waving it up and down with the wind currents.
Yep.
I do that very often. And one morning, I know that I left with the ring on because I knock on the door with the ring, and I would tap the door and say goodbye to my wife, who was asleep. So the ring was on there, and I would have noticed if I tapped with my ring and it wasn't there. So I left with the ring, go to work with my hand out the window, get to work, and the door's locked. So I tap on the door there to let me in, and the ring's not there. I said, criminy. I looked all over my car, and of course I looked around where I park at home, but it's kind of, I don't see any chance of ever getting that ring back. Because it's somewhere on the highway, on Ronald Reagan Highway in Cincinnati.
You're not going to find it.
But about a year later, we were in kind of we weren't in a good state. I mean, it's not like we were on the verge of divorce, but things were bad because I had gotten laid off, couldn't get another job. We've got, I don't even remember how many. Well, we had all 6 kids by then.
Yeah.
And it's hard having 6 kids with no job. Yeah. The youngest one was, I had 2 that were not yet in school. So I'm home with these 2 children. I'm doing dishes. The 2 kids are in the other room playing. Vicky goes upstairs to take a nap. She comes down a little while later, says, "Where'd you find it?" I said, "Where'd I find what?" She said, "Wasn't that you upstairs?" I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I've been down here doing dishes." And I'm kind of irritated when I'm talking because we had just been in an argument over something. And she holds up my ring. She says, "I thought it was you. Somebody came in and put this on my finger while I was sleeping. And I woke up and saw them and I thought it was you." And that was my ring. I mean, it was my ring.
Yeah.
And now I have my ring back. But
I've never
things
had
like that.
an interaction at that level with an angel.
Okay. Well, I've got another one.
Oh, really?
I think I've told you this story, but I have to tell it in a way to not give away certain information.
Okay.
But I was in a confrontation or something that was turning into a confrontation. Mm-hmm. And I knew it was getting worse and worse. I could feel it getting worse and worse. And I sat down and I said a prayer to my guardian angel because I don't want to fight this person, but if I do fight this person, I'm not holding back in any sense of the word. I'm going full force.
Right.
And I kept praying to my guardian angel and the other person's guardian angel, "Can you please make this stop?" And then this other person did something that made me think, okay, now it's time to fight. Mm-hmm. And I got up and got ready to take a swing. And actually I did take one swing, but it kind of just glanced off. And there were 2 other people in the room besides the person I'm in confrontation with. And I felt an arm around my middle. And I thought, this is a very powerful arm because it lifted me up off the ground and threw me to the ground again. And I remember seeing the arm. It was muscular, but not real thick. Mm-hmm. It was a well-formed, skinny arm. And I thought, how did the other person who was in the room, I thought, how did he do that? He's not strong enough to do that, but he literally threw me on the ground.
Yeah.
And within those few seconds, it kind of fizzled out. The fight was kind of over after that. And, the other person left and I was okay. But, I went to the other person later. I said, why'd you do that? I said, you could have gotten hurt. I could have gotten hurt. And he had no idea what I was talking about. I said, didn't you push me or throw me to the ground or something? He said, I never touched you. I saw you get up and take a swing and then fall on the ground. And that's what everybody in the room saw.
That was so weird.
But it seared into my memory, this arm grabbing me around and just lifting me up and throwing me.
Yeah. You probably would have got your clock cleaned if it hadn't.
Possibly. Or I would have ended up in jail. One of those 2 things.
Or that. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because I think if it had turned into a real fight, it probably would have gotten pretty serious.
Yeah. Gotten to the point of call police.
The hospital stage. Yeah. So those are 2, and there's another one that I don't feel like telling. But
yeah, that's okay.
Maybe some other day.
2.
I'm a firm believer in angels. Mm-hmm. And you should pray to your guardian angel.
All be.
There's also plenty of other times when it's like, I made this decision or this happened, and really it shouldn't have happened quite that way. The car slid in this direction. That's not the direction it was going in, and it should have slid in this direction, and me ending up, in a heap with 50 other cars, and it didn't happen that way,
Yeah.
there's things like that you can't really say this was definitely my angel. You just say, thank you, God, that it happened. But I still attribute it to my guardian
I don't know how
angel.
many other people have, histories of some very stupid driving tactics and decisions that should have ended very badly, and for whatever reason didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I imagine that angels do help us in this way, but who's to say? I mean,
who's to say how often it happens that is not recognizable as such?
Okay, but see, here's the thing. When it comes to angels, your guardian angel is really the only one who can stand you.
Oh, that's right. Because you are
back to
a
angels.
Sinner.
Yeah, angels do not like human beings, and you don't hear of guardian angels in the Bible, really, a whole lot.
Yeah, that's true. You don't.
But we hear of lots of angels. We hear the angel of death, who came in and killed everybody. Mm-hmm. We've got the angels who went down and, they saved Lot from the town, but they're like, you need to get out of here because we're going to tear this place apart.
Yeah.
And and then they turned his wife into salt. So, that wasn't very cool.
Were they, should I say this? Were they doing him a favor?
They might have been. It might have been an ironic favor, like she was a really bad cook. There's Jacob. Jacob wrestled an angel. I never got that at all.
Yeah, he wrestles an angel, and then the angel's like, okay, I gotta leave. He says, no, not until you give me a blessing. But then, the angel touched his thigh and broke his thigh just by touching it or something.
I wonder if that angel got made fun of by the other angels.
That's what it is. He dislocated it.
He dislocated his thigh?
Can you imagine?
Why?
Who knows?
He just won. How did the angel... You mean the angel's thigh was dislocated?
No,
or the angel
dislocated Jacob's thigh.
Jacob's thigh.
Yeah.
And then was he able to walk after that?
Well, he probably limped. Wouldn't you think?
I wouldn't think you'd be able to limp even after dislocating your thigh.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
that
it got
would
pushed
hurt.
Back in place.
I didn't even know about that. This is after Jacob won, or during the fight. Wow. I wonder if it was just like, I could have taken you, and I'm going to show you, Just as God helped you and you won this, but if I wanted to, I could have done this. Crank. You think the other angels made fun of that angel?
You
for
lost
getting
to
beat
a
up
human.
By a guy? By a dude?
Yeah.
He probably never lived it down.
Can you imagine
like for
God,
all eternity
assigning, or the angel that we said the dominions, they regulate the duties of angels, make known in God's commands. So the dominion is talking to this angel, saying, okay, you're going to have to go wrestle this guy, but you have to lose.
And you're going to get your butt kicked.
He's like, what?
For all eternity, he's the only angel that got his butt kicked by human beings. That would be terrible. Of course, but the demons get their butts kicked sometimes. The demons get their butts kicked by humans. I mean, we've got Jesus or Mary stepping on the head of Satan,
completely over to God.
Well, okay. And what's his name? John the Baptist's father.
Oh, Zechariah.
Zechariah gets his sight taken away by the angel.
His speech.
It's not like, but is it his speech? Yeah, that's right. His speech.
Remember, because he had to write on the paper, his name is John, and then his tongue was open. Can you imagine?
But it's not like
You're not only can you not speak, and your wife has full reign of the house with her tongue, but she's pregnant besides.
Yeah,
for 9 months.
You can't say nothing. Don't even try to talk back.
That poor guy.
He he didn't even really argue with the angel. He just kind of questioned the information.
He's like, are you sure about that?
Really?
That doesn't make sense.
Because my
to
wife's
me.
kind of old. Am I going to get a new wife, or is this wife going to get pregnant?
Yeah.
Bam. Okay.
Boom. Okay. You don't get to talk anymore.
But then Gabriel comes down, completely different story. Because she questions too. She's like, how's that going to happen?
Yeah, but Mary didn't question the reality. She just questioned the mechanism.
Yeah, okay.
How is this to be?
I would imagine when the guys are assigning the angels to go down and talk to Mary, he probably was warned. It's like, okay, don't be turning anyone to salt on this one. That's his mom. That's the big guy's mom. Watch what you say.
Not only that, but you're going to be in the presence of the voice of God.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be the voice of God. And if you go taking her voice away or turning her into salt, you're going to pay. So be respectful, and that's how that worked out. Yeah, that's the only time where you see an angel in any way respectful to man. The only other angels who not only tolerate us, but actually help us are the guardian angels. And a lot of the saints would pray to their guardian angels and talk to their guardian and see their guardian angels. And their guardian angels would talk back to them. Like Padre Pio, had a lot of conversations with his guardian angel. And it seemed almost like a friendship. I wonder if there's going to be some kind of bond like for eternity. Oh,
yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
It's like even after we die, we've got this
like
angel that goes with us.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But the guardian angels, like you said, they're the only ones who can stand us,
right?
Because
it would have to be a guardian angel
to be on our side. But do you think there's like backroom dealings that they have to do with the other angels to get stuff for us?
Yeah, it's
what kind of stuff do they have to put up with?
Right. You should have seen what Mai did today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've done a lot of stupid... Mom always says that I've retired at least 3 guardian angels. Because of all the stupid junk I did as a kid and all the accidents I've been in. And
What was that one commercial about the guardian angel who's always distracted? Oh. And we made a joke. We said, "Oh, that's your guardian angel."
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, that's like right on the tip of my brain. I remember that now. It was
that like a car insurance
you guys
thing,
kept
or
joking
what?
about that being my guardian angel. Like he was.
It's like he's always busy doing something else, and then something bad happens.
All right, we gotta
move on.
Out.
Yeah.
I'll pause. Hold on, I gotta find this out. Okay.
How are you gonna find out? That was years ago.
I know, but
Okay, I'm going to look up Guardian Angel insurance commercial.
Yeah, it was insurance. May have been Guardian Angel Insurance Company.
Capital One.
Capital One?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Capital One.
Okay, we'll link to this one from the show notes. he falls off
it.
Yeah. That's great. He's going hang glide.
Let's just use your Capital One no hassle card. Protect yourself with Capital One's low rates
Okay.
and great rewards.
Yeah, that was my guardian angel. It kind of just halfway there to be like, whoa, at the very last second with like, dude, don't put a bullet in a vice. It will go off and it will lunge itself into your arm. Maybe it would have hit my eye if it hadn't been for my guardian
angel. Could have hit, any number of things.
Right. Yeah, or something even worse. Okay. I guess we should move on.
All right.
Stories. We got. Man, there's a lot of news here.
Yeah.
I guess I can kind of... Okay, I didn't do any religious news because there's all kinds of stupid stuff going on, and I figure all of it is worth a whole podcast, and we're already late on all of it because we went camping over the weekend, and so we didn't do a show last week.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks worth of news to catch up on.
Yeah, so there's the French sex report. There's the didn't their whatchamacallit, their synod start this week? The synod on synodality.
Oh, the synod on synodality. Yeah, we talked about that at a prior podcast. So, that starts this week or this weekend or something like that.
And there's some goofy statement that Francis made that kind of maybe shows his hand, and it's like, we know what this is. But, so, I won't I'm just mentioning those are the things probably we're going to end up talking about in the podcast next
on
week.
It. We'll dedicate a podcast to it after it happens, without a doubt.
Yeah. So, but in regular secular news, U.S. State Department reveals that the current stockpile of nuclear weapons is 3,750 warheads. I wonder, do those warheads go bad? What do they do? I mean,
I think they kind of don't. I mean, sure. I mean, there is the uranium, and it decays with some long half-life, but
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe.
But I mean, are those, when we have a stockpile of weapons, are these things that are launchable, or is it like 10 of them are launchable, the other ones are just sitting there and doing nothing?
When they say warheads, I think that specifically means things that can be put onto a missile, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're on a missile.
Okay. Well, there was a shooting in Arlington, Texas. Why would we be allowed
to know that? Wouldn't you think that's a national security secret?
Yeah, I don't think that's the truth. That's probably, there's either like 10 times that many or not even...
Or 1/10 that many.
1/10 that many. You know? And you never know with our government. There was a shooting in Arlington, Texas at a high school, but it doesn't sound like it's a random shoot. It sounds like there was a fight and someone had a gun. And,
okay.
4 people are wounded. Doesn't look like anyone died.
Not a school mass shooting or something like that.
Yeah, it's not like that. Okay. I think it was just a gang fight or something. A federal judge, Robert L. Pittman, blocks the Texas Heartbeat Act.
Okay.
So I guess that'll make its way through
to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, we expected that, and this is the path it's going to take.
Yeah.
Pray every day that what should happen happens.
Yeah.
And we know what should happen.
If we can just overturn this concept that somehow our Constitution, which is a really good thing, includes a right for a mom to be allowed to kill her baby. If we can overturn that and get that out of the legal reasoning and out of the precedents, that would be a huge victory.
I think if we did that, there would be some kind of hope for America. If we don't do that, I don't see how there would be any hope.
Things would turn real violent real fast. I think it would turn.
Yeah, it would. But it would mean hope for America.
Yeah. If we don't do that, America will go down.
This great experiment that led to what we have today. Without that, I think we're kind of doomed. So there's this former Facebook employee, and there's some kind of hearing, and she's kind of acting as a whistleblower, saying that the company's sites harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy.
That's not whistleblowing.
Yeah, I know, but I think she gave very specific instances of how Facebook saw certain things happen and continued to let it happen. And I think this is things like say, this wasn't an example, but I think this is what the kind of things she's talking about is things like sex trade, for example. That's being allowed on Facebook. Also, things like people bullying, and maybe even like they have like suicide journals that they do on Facebook and things like
That's
that.
yucky. Okay, all of which is yucky. So, I mean, here's the thing, though. Is her point that Facebook's use within society ought to be diluted, or is her point that we need to give Facebook, the keys to the kingdom and allow them greater censorship powers and that kind of stuff?
That's the thing. That's how it's being kind of twisted, depending on who is writing the story about it. Because it's like Facebook is saying, hey, we've tried our best to manage misinformation. As if that's what she's talking about. And it's like, that's not what we're talking. They're turning it into, we need more control so that we could better manage misinformation. As if that's what the problem is. And I think that's, any complaint about Facebook is going to turn into that. Because they twist the truth around so much.
Right.
I mean, this is a really evil organization, and no matter what, they're pushing for more power, and then other people are pushing Congress to act. But if Congress acts, it's going to be for Facebook's good, not bad. We've already given them immunity against anything.
Yeah,
you can't sue them for anything anymore.
Laws,
it's insane.
Standard things like libel and slander, that kind of stuff. They get to say, we're just a platform, and then they get to curate the content.
Right.
And what they're asking for is Congress to give them more power to curate the content and continue to be immune as a platform.
Yeah. So whatever discussion is going on, that's what Facebook is pushing for, and I have a feeling that's what Congress wants to give them. For some reason, Congress thinks that once that happens, Facebook is somehow going to remain loyal to them and keep certain ones in office. You know what I mean? It's like,
oh, right.
They don't understand the monster.
Hey, we gave you what you want. Why aren't you contributing to our campaign?
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Well, in Afghanistan, the fighting continues between various groups. The Taliban is still fighting with ISIL, who, I think 50 people are killed and more than 100 wounded when there's a suicide bomber. But the Taliban strikes back against ISIL, and yet there's this other group called ISK claiming responsibility for the attack.
Oh.
And so there's this new group. We've got ISIS, ISIL, the Taliban, and ISK.
But aren't ISIS and ISIL just different names of the same group?
I think they are. I think these are all names of the same group. No, I think
Taliban,
it's just a certain person.
I mean, the Taliban are bad, but I think they are specifically against ISIS because the Taliban want to be the ruling group in Afghanistan, and ISIS wants to be the ruling group in all Muslim countries.
Yeah, I think, okay. But they all want the same thing.
Yeah, they all...
Power.
Yeah.
They want power.
And any one of them having power is a bad thing.
Right. They're all bad people. So, let's see, there's a 5.9 magnitude earthquake in Pakistan.
Okay.
I think we got 24 deaths from that. There's another, a 6.1 in Tokyo, Japan.
That's heavier. How many deaths from that?
I don't see any deaths. Wait a minute. It only wounded 41 people so far, so I guess I don't see any deaths from that. Now we've got, over by China, we've got the Wall Street Journal's reporting that a contingent of U.S. Special Force soldiers have been deployed in Taiwan to help train Taiwan forces as they're dealing with China. The trainers were first deployed under the Trump administration. So Trump saw this coming, I guess, a while ago.
Okay.
Now, the president of Taiwan says she will not bow to pressure from China and vows to uphold the island's sovereignty and democratic norms.
Good for her.
China denounces her speech, saying that it's inciting confrontation and it distorted facts. So, there's
Tell
something
that to
building
Hong
there.
Kong.
Huh?
Tell that to Hong Kong.
Yeah, really. And at the same time, we've also got Japan. The Japanese prime minister vows to fight. See, this is weird. He vows to fight and end the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't even know what he's talking about there. And counter the Chinese and North Korean threats by strengthening the Japan's Coast Guard and missile defenses.
Okay. So is Japan an ally of Taiwan?
No. I mean, Japan... Oh, okay. I don't think so in this case. I think Japan and Taiwan are both dealing with China.
Okay.
And then,
So
of course, now the U.S. has teamed up with the UK and with Australia in this other thing, and France is kind of turning against us on that. But I haven't heard anything that developed in that whole deal.
Yeah.
So, China, I guess China's the next big enemy that we're going to be dealing with. It's kind of weird because we still get everything we own from China.
Yeah, we ought to stop doing that, guys. Hey, stop buying from China.
And at the same time, there's 3 different provinces in China as reporting bad power outages every week. Factories are shutting down, and they're only working sometimes for 2 or 3 days per week, operating on generators.
Oh, wow.
So China's trying to get more coal, I think is what's happening. They're trying to buy it even as far away as Ukraine. I guess China's running out of coal.
Wow.
Also in Lebanon, the entire country was without electricity for a short time. They ran out of diesel fuel. Okay, you know what this reminds me of? In America, as we crept more and more into a liberal government before Ronald Reagan,
Yeah.
there was a serious power problem. We couldn't get power anywhere.
An energy crisis.
And there were rolling blackouts and stuff. And even now there are rolling brownouts and blackouts in the more liberal states.
Yeah, like California.
The conservative states don't have this problem. And America didn't have this problem after Ronald Reagan came in. This is a liberal problem, and you can see how it gets worse when the powers go from liberal to flat-out communist, or in dictatorships. Let's see. 5 people are killed by flash flooding in Alabama and Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
13 inches of
I didn't
rain
hear about
falling in
this.
some area. Yeah, I know. We're not that far away from there, but we didn't... I mean, we got some rain over the weekend, but not 13 inches. It's a lot. Of course, we were in the mountains anyway, so...
We did get pretty heavy rain that one night.
Yeah, we did get some pretty heavy rain. The Polish Constitutional Tribunal rules that the Constitution of Poland takes precedence over European laws.
Good.
And
for Poland.
Challenges the primacy of European Union law principle, escalating tensions around the Polish rule of law crisis, especially around the more controversial judicial reforms. I don't know if they're talking about the anti-gay laws.
Probably they are.
But I have a feeling that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And hope this is good for Poland, which we're going to talk about Poland later in the story about saints.
Oh, okay.
It would be nice to see at least one country hang on to its Catholic identity, overall.
I know.
I mean, I know it's not a Catholic country, but it's mostly Catholic. and Mexico has kind of stopped being Catholic, and parts of Poland have stopped being Catholic, but Poland and Hungary are the two strong Catholic nations right now that we should be praying for. Ireland isn't even close to Catholic anymore. Well, maybe they are. Maybe it's just, if half the country is bad or half the country... And we don't even know if there was voter fraud when they voted to legalize abortion.
That's true. That's true.
We don't know. Maybe the same kind of shenanigans that happened in America are happening there. Let's see, where are we? U.S. Navy reports that the USS Connecticut, which is a nuclear-powered fast attack submarine, it struck an unidentified object over in the South China Sea. 12 crew members were injured. We don't really know what the damage is yet, but they are saying that the submarine is safe and stable. But we still don't know what it hit.
That's weird.
NASA.
Because don't those subs have like sonar and stuff to know what's around them? Or at least to
that's,
know what...
I mean, there's sonar at least, but if there's something there...
Yeah.
Or if maybe there's something that... Or some kind of craft that is able to be invisible to that. Maybe that's part of what happened. Maybe...
They'd have to not reflect sound waves in water.
Maybe it was just a really bad driver.
Could be. There was that one
know.
story about the two cruise ships that collided.
Yeah, that's insane.
It might be something like that.
But NASA astronomers announced that they've discovered a hot Jupiter exoplanet.
Okay.
That is, it's 50% larger, yet 30% less massive. So I guess there's a lot more gas.
More gaseous.
And less, yeah.
Okay. Is that what they mean by hot, I guess?
I don't know what hot means. A hot Jupiter exoplanet.
I imagine if it's larger and less dense, the reason it's less dense is because the gases are hotter. Like when you heat up
hot
air,
Jupiter.
you do the experiment where you heat up air in
hot
the
Jupiters
bottle.
are a class of gas giant exoplanets that are inferred to be physically similar to Jupiter, but they have very short orbital periods.
That means they're close
because
to the
they're
sun.
so close to the star.
Okay.
So they're hot because they're right next to the sun or the star. And then, let's see, I've got another science one. Was it? Oh, okay, this is Blue Origin launches, taking 4 crew members into suborbit. What's suborbit as opposed to orbit?
I think that means, orbit is stable. Once you're in orbit, you don't have to expend energy to stay there. I think suborbit means you still have to keep applying thrust to maintain it.
Okay.
I think.
So, there's an engineer and a Blue Origin vice president goes, and then there's a guy, just some rich business owner, and of all people, William Shatner. William Shatner gets to go to outer space. I think that's
what?
Excellent.
I think that's fitting.
I think that's great.
I think that's fitting.
I'm happy that I'm jealous as all get out, but it's great that he got to go to outer space.
It's just right that it happened that way.
Yeah. He's the oldest human in space at 90 years old.
Oh, wow. Captain William T. Kirk. You think he's going to get up there and forget who he is and start giving orders?
Yeah, he's going to... Where's my big chair? Where's my chair? Okay, that's all the news I got.
All right. Well, I got a few nonsense items.
Okay.
First off is from our weekend. So what do you call it? The Dancing Walking Stick of Daniel Boone National Forest. You can go check out the YouTube video. Turn the volume up. You got to turn it up in order to hear the music.
Yeah,
but you need the music.
Without
It's you just have to go watch it. It's funny.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. We noticed it. I think you thought it was a katydid.
I thought it was a
katydid.
I saw these antennas moving around. I said, "Hey, there's a katydid on your light." This is one of these flashlights. It's LED, so it's not like hot or anything, but it's real bright.
It's very bright.
And I saw these antennas moving. There's a katydid, and then it's like we're looking at it, and it's like those things are kind of bouncing to the music.
Yeah,
turned out it was a walking stick.
Yeah, and we would turn the music off, and it would kind of slow down and stop
down.
eventually, and then the music come on, and then it would start doing that again. It was the weirdest thing. So we got a video. We actually got a lot of video of it doing this, but we only put one of them on YouTube, and maybe someday we'll put
more. Yeah,
some of the others.
What's funny about this, I thought, okay, that was fun. You gave us some entertainment, because I assumed that the walking stick was trying to find a way off of the light.
Right.
And that's why it kept moving around. So I picked it up and tossed it into the woods. And 20 minutes later, it was back on the light.
Like 30 feet away from the light, he tossed it into the woods.
Yeah.
And it comes back a half hour later, and there it is again.
I mean, I guess it's possible that it was a different walking stick, but it acted the same way as the first one.
Yeah, and we don't... it's not like... It's weird. I don't think it was a different one.
You got to go watch it.
Because if it was that, if they were attracted to it to the point where you threw one away and another took its place, then eventually would have seen two at a time. Yeah. But that didn't happen. It was just this one who liked the light and liked the music. He liked the limelight. Yeah. Okay. What else we got?
All right. So what can you call this? Love in the round, maybe? This guy built...
the what?
This guy built for his wife a house that spins around.
Like the spinning restaurant type of thing?
It's what it appears to be. You can see the picture. They've got the picture of the house. It's on a big concrete slab underneath it, and then you can see that it's got some kind of mechanism between the slab and the house. Maybe it's like so they can always keep the sun from coming in their bedroom window or something like that.
Yeah.
That might actually be kind of nice, but he built it for his wife.
It would be nice. Mm-hmm. You would have to have an awful lot of money to even think of doing that. You know?
I know.
I mean, there's so many... It wouldn't be bad to have, but there's so many things that you could have instead. You would have to have all those other things first, you know? Or maybe there's a serious reason he did it. And
this is in Bosnia-Herzegovina, not America.
Okay.
It says that he designed it for his wife, for her to satisfy her shifting desires as to what she would like to see when she looks out the windows. But you know, I'm looking at this. This thing is just like in the middle of a field, in what appears to be surrounded by, plain, maybe industrial. It's like what is it that you want to look at from one time to the other? It looks like the scenery will all be the same.
Does it really
in every
change?
So,
if you were going to do that, why not go ahead, spend the extra money, and get a house on top of a hill?
Yeah.
You know?
So I can see the mountains that way, and I can see the city that way, and stuff like that.
The sunset, sunrise. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that as much money as you'd have to put into something like that, just go ahead and get a better location. Now I think the guy's just an idiot. Maybe they like that spot.
I don't know.
Maybe she liked them factories.
Could be.
I don't know. That's weird.
This is even weirder. Okay, so I guess what this means is we've got two wildlife stories, animal stories this week, because we talked about the dancing walking stick.
Okay.
So a squirrel left, it says 42... You know how squirrels will squirrel away nuts and pack them up for the winter or whatever?
Yeah.
So it says this squirrel left 42 gallons of nuts in this guy's... They're like walnuts or something, in this guy's pickup truck.
In his pickup truck?
Yeah, stashed
in the
into
bed
the
of his truck, or
engine compartment and everything.
Wow.
Engine compartment and wheel wells and everything.
I guess he didn't
He came from
had
home,
it maybe stored in the garage a lot.
I guess. He came
time.
home from a 4-day work trip and discovered that his truck was filled with black walnuts, each about the size of a lime. They were tucked into every nook and cranny of it's a Chevy Avalanche, including the engine compartment and fenders. He removed enough to fill 7 6-gallon containers. That's
Wow.
42 gallons of nuts.
Wow. I've come to despise squirrels. I lived in Cleves, which is pretty close to the country.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in E-Town, which is like it's almost in the country. It's just my area wasn't country.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I moved back here to Cheviot that I really came to appreciate how much of a problem squirrels are. I mean, they chewed through my garbage cans the way you would expect a rat to do, and made holes
like those thick
so that they
plastic
can now
ones?
go in and chew up all the garbage and spread it around.
Oh wow!
I bought an electric rat trap just to deal with them. I've killed like 17 squirrels so far, and there's no end to them.
No, there's not. Not in North
It's like
America.
it's incredible the amount of damage that they cause.
And they don't communicate apparently because if you keep killing them and they keep coming around,
Yeah,
you'd think
but
the word would get around. Hey, don't go there. My 3 brothers went there and they never came back.
Yeah, but I will say that if you set the trap and one gets away, like it doesn't get killed by it, it will not go into that trap again. It's learned its lesson once it gets shocked and doesn't die. Yeah.
Okay. Turning from squirrels to squirreliness, from nut gatherers to nut bait or squirrel bait nuts. A man is suing a Los Angeles psychic that he paid. He's suing her for fraud because she claimed that she could remove a witch's curse that was put on him by his ex-girlfriend for a certain amount of money. Mauro Restrepo found the psychic Sophia Adams's website that billed her as a PhD life coach and as a psychic love coach. Made him more confident that he was speaking with a professional. The words psychic love coach instilled confidence that you're speaking to a professional.
Jeez.
That could help.
So
him.
what happened? I mean, did she do something and now he's not convinced that the curse has been removed, or did she say I can't remove it?
Let's see. The woman gave him a tarot reading when he visited her office and told him that a mala suerte, or bad luck, that he had some bad luck that was put there by his ex-girlfriend when she hired a curse-casting witch. Then she claimed that his family would be unhappy and in danger unless he paid her $5,100 to remove the curse. He paid her a $1,000 deposit, but she did not in any way help his marriage. Wait a minute, he's got a girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, and a wife?
Well, that's just stupid.
He's asking for $25,000 in damages.
But he only gave her $1,000.
Well, these are damages, I guess, because she didn't follow through with the promise to remove the curse. So he's saying that.
So he's going to go to court
someone else that actually removed it
and prove that he's still cursed. Where she could say, "No, I removed the curse. That's just bad luck."
I know. I don't get it. It's
it's like people lose their faith in God and they'll fall for anything.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just they get stupid after that.
Yep.
And this is evidence of that.
An example. Okay. All right. So we've talked about funerals and caskets and burials and stuff before, but let me ask you this question. You know, the standard funeral that we're used to. You go into the funeral home. Often it's the night before. You have an open casket. You see your loved one. You say goodbye, pay your respects, that kind of stuff. Or sometimes it's the day of the funeral. They might have it right there at the church or whatever. you still have
Right.
the open casket. You can see your loved one and so forth. But sometimes people get it into their heads that instead of an open casket, they want a closed casket. Or sometimes family members decide, we don't want to pay for a casket. Let's just cremate and have a simple wooden box. Well, if you do either of those things, how do you know who's really in the casket or in the box?
We talked about this.
Did we?
Kind of.
A couple of sisters from North Carolina discovered earlier this month that a stranger's body was in the casket that was supposed to contain their mother. There's not even a similarity to the person. The size was way off. And when the person had the clothing on, she was like swimming in the clothes because she was small compared to their mother. Now, here's what's really funny. This funeral home, this is the Hunter's Funeral Home and a Husky, about 120 miles northeast of Raleigh, North Carolina. They failed to acknowledge the issue and even denied that the person was somebody other than their mother.
Wow.
Can you imagine? I mean, I'm just picturing like the Monty Python dead parrot skit here.
Yeah. No, that's her. That's her. That's your mom. No, look at her. That's your mom. See the clothes?
Much bigger than that.
Those are the clothes you gave us.
She's dead.
That's your mom. Okay. That's crazy. But at some point, wouldn't the police get involved and say, okay, who is this dead person?
It was just
is this like getting rid of a dead body?
Bury.
Maybe. Or maybe they offed someone.
I guess that's
and
the presumptive.
If you were a criminal, it would be good to know a funeral guy.
Yeah.
And I do notice that these guys who own these funeral homes, they usually have a lot of money.
You know, I gotta.
Even guys who don't buy and sell the properties.
He was a funeral director, and for a while he ran his own funeral home, but he did the embalming and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
They eventually found the mom in the embalming room of the funeral home.
Okay, so they just put the wrong body in there. And,
you know, that reminds me. Have you seen all of the Columbos?
I have seen them all.
Okay, so there's the one where it's I think it's a fairly recent one. I mean,
yeah,
a later one. Patrick McGowan plays a funeral home undertaker. Where
he mixes the bodies,
he cremates the one body to get rid of it and stuff.
Yeah, but there's a ring or a filling or something like that. Yeah. Maybe a hip replacement, something that he was able to identify him with.
Right. I think it was like a I don't know, bullet in one of his, because he was like a war veteran or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. It had something to do with a battle. It was it was a good one. I liked it. I love the Columbus.
So guys, go, make sure it's really your loved one that you're giving your respects to.
Yeah. I mean, is that anything like a doctor who removes the wrong leg or something like that? I mean, this stuff happens.
You hear about those stories, but
people make mistakes. Can you imagine, being the funeral director, be like, okay, you've got people under you, and you're like, here, do this body, do it here, do this and do that. And then coming in the next morning,
and they're in
knowing
the wrong
that
place.
All these things are, and you see a body and it's like, what is he doing there? And who's in that coffin upstairs that all the family are gathered around? But my question is, how did they find out?
Well, this wasn't a closed.
Was it an open casket or closed?
No, this was an open casket, and they just went in.
Oh, it was an open casket.
Yeah, they went in for the calling for laying out, and they thought, well, wait a minute, this isn't our mom.
Who is this? Yeah, okay. I thought maybe it was a closed one. Somebody opened it up to check.
But I got to thinking, well, if that had been a closed casket calling, nobody would have not been the wiser.
Right. I wonder if you have a closed casket and you go up and open the casket, I wonder what you're going to see.
That's a good question. I mean,
is it all made up and stuff, or is it just a dead body?
Why would they? They're not going to make somebody up to look nice and they probably are naked.
Right. Yeah, no makeup or anything. It's probably just a dead body.
Probably be pretty disgusting, actually.
I have to do this now.
Oh, wait a minute. No.
I will.
No.
Find
We're
a
not
way
going
to
to
do
have
this.
a closed casket for Mom and Dad just so that you can go and open up the casket.
No, not for Mom and Dad. But eventually I'll go to a closed casket funeral, and I'm going to distract everyone and take a peek.
Get one
take
of your
a quick
kids
peek.
to cause a disturbance so that you can... You know, the thing is, though, they're probably... Because these caskets, what they do, they close it, and then there's like a clamp that you
there's like
close
seals
with like
and stuff.
some kind of a key. It's not a special key like a lock key or anything like that, but it's a key that you have to turn something to clamp it down. So you probably wouldn't be able
Because you
to
always
open
you see movies where there's a big disturbance at a funeral and the coffin
It
comes
falls
flying
open.
off the bar and it pops open.
Yeah.
And that probably doesn't really happen.
it. Probably not.
Well, we'll see.
Anyway,
Next time I'm at a closed casket
at least
funeral,
kind of
I'll
give it a
find
little
out.
bit of a lift to see what happens.
Yeah. Just see. Act like I'm distraught and putting my hand
That would
on
be
the thing.
funny.
And
You
then
do
I'll
that,
just
and it's
lift
like,
it
hey
up real
guys,
quick.
this casket's empty.
Yeah, there's nobody in here. All right.
That's all I got.
That's all you got? Okay. So we're going to talk about Adalbert of Prague, born in 956 AD, to a noble family in Bohemia. And I guess Prague is an area of Bohemia, which is now the Czech Republic.
Right.
He was sick as a child, and his parents, praying for him, dedicated him to God, consecrated him, and put him on an altar dedicated to the Virgin Mary. And he did get better. But as they had promised to do, they sent him to study to become a priest. I can't even say his birth name, so I won't try. But he studied under Adalbert of Magdeburg, who was a popular bishop at the time. And when he became a priest, he took Adalbert's name. And so he became Adalbert of Prague.
Okay.
The Bishop of Prague died when he was 27. Now, he witnessed the bishop dying, and the bishop was lamenting and was convinced he was going to go to hell because he spent his time pursuing wealth instead of doing his duties to the church. Witnessing this, he and then being chosen as the next bishop, he very much took his oath, his duties as a priest and a bishop very seriously. He actually went to Prague barefoot to demonstrate his rejection of wealth and worldliness. There was a lot of corruption in the church at that time, so when the people saw him coming, they celebrated him. There was a lot of, everybody was holding him up as a great man, but it was a sinful area. There was a lot of paganism, idolatry, polygamy, and these are the kinds of things he had to fight against. Also, he fought against Jews selling Christians into slavery to Muslims. That was a big thing. He exorcised demons. He apparently had a lot of miracles happen. I couldn't find a whole lot of stories. And in Poland, there is a door, a giant brass door with, kind of sculpted with pictures from his life. And some of the pictures indicate things that I can't find the story to tell what they're about. Like there's one of him dropping he dropped a wine vase, a wine pitcher, and it didn't break. That's what's on this door, but I can't find the story where this happened and why it's on the door. So there's a lot of stories that I can't find on this, and if I do, or if someone knows, let me know.
Right
but either way, there's still a lot about him, though. He proposed a lot of reforms to the secular ruling class, and as a result, he was rejected both by the clergy and the ruling class there in Prague. And he began to notice that there was a lack of fruit for all his work. The people mostly ignored him. And eventually he asked the Pope if he could leave and join a monastery in Rome. The Pope granted him permission, so he left. He stayed away for about 5 years. Pope John XIV sent him back again to Prague because I guess the people were asking for him back. But the Pope gave him permission to leave if the same thing happened. If the people weren't obeying him, he was able to leave. So he goes there.
Okay.
Again, everybody celebrates him as he comes. But all the same people kind of turn back to idolatry, polygamy, slavery, and all kinds of other sin. There was a woman accused of adultery who sought sanctuary in the church there. And Saint Adalbert tried to give her sanctuary and protect her from the townsmen who were trying to kill her. Well, he was unsuccessful when the woman was killed, and he was outraged by this because they violated the sanctuary of this church. Yeah, the sanctuary
of the church. That's supposed to be like kind of sacrosanct. You don't violate that at all.
Yeah. So he excommunicated these men. The town was outraged by this, and they actually threw him out of Prague, and he was exiled to Hungary. He was welcomed in Hungary by King Boleslaw. Reminds me of coleslaw. It's spelled just like coleslaw, but it's Boleslaw. King Boleslaw gave him bishop over a certain area in Hungary. He did a lot of work in Hungary, baptized a lot of people, converted a lot of people.
The king's name is actually, I bet you pronounce the E, Boleslaw.
Boleslaw. Okay, I'll say Boleslaw. He actually was the one who baptized Saint Stephen of Hungary.
Okay.
In Hungary, he's also having this dream of Jesus Christ about the Jews selling Christians into slavery. And in the dream, Jesus says, "Here I am, sold again, and you're sleeping." So he tries to, I guess, create kind of a crusade. He's trying to get, he's got a lot of family in Bohemia, and he's trying to get them and the other rulers that he knew to start a war to try to free these Christian slaves, but he's entirely unsuccessful. He's in Hungary, and the Pope tells him he has to go back to Prague. Again, he's doing all kinds of good work in Hungary, but the Pope says, you got to go back to Prague. So when the people in Prague find out that he's coming back, they get angry, and they kill a lot of Saint Adalbert's relatives, burn a lot of their properties to the ground, make it obvious that he's not allowed to come back to Prague. So then he goes to Poland. He knows the Duke of Poland. You know what? I may have gotten this wrong. The Duke of Poland might be Boleslaw, and the king in Hungary might not be Boleslaw.
Oh, okay.
So I may have gotten one of these wrongs. But anyway, the Duke of Poland asks him to come here and convert pagans, which he does. And he's very successful in Poland. So we got Poland and Hungary accepting this man, and a lot of pagans converting. Prague, on the other hand, rejecting him. So he was made bishop in Poland. He leaves Poland to go on a missionary trip to Prussia. He's attacked there by a pagan priest who hits him once, and after he's hit once, he starts thanking God that God allows him to suffer for his faith. And the priest, even more angry, stabs him with a spear, and then after killing him, and this is on April 23rd, 1997, he kills him with the spear, and then they cut his head off.
You want to say that year again?
Huh?
You want to say that year again?
1990. I'm sorry, not 1997. 997 A.D. As a matter of fact, there was a big deal in 1997 because it was the anniversary.
Oh, the
1000th anniversary of death.
Yeah.
And this was celebrated by all the churches, by the Orthodox, by the Catholics, and by a lot of the Protestants. Anyway, the Prussians put his head on a stake, and people are going to this head, and there are miracles happening. Now, Boleslaw finds out that they've got his head up on a stake, and he wants the body. Also, the people in Prague want the body for some reason.
Huh. The people in Prague who
because he
him?
was... Yeah, the people who rejected him wanted his body. Now, I guess he did have some family there still. So some of them may have been his family. And he was the Bishop of Prague. But the Prussians refused to give them his body even after his canonization. And he's canonized as Saint Adalbert of Prague. However, Boleslaw in Poland pays a ransom for his body. He matched the body's weight in gold.
Oh, okay.
Now, they didn't give him the head. They only gave him the body. And later, I can't get a date on this, but later, a duke in Bohemia raids the monastery in Poland to take the saint's relics. And he brings them back to Prague. But after he gets there, the Polish people are claiming he didn't get... They had set this up as a decoy because they knew he was coming. And so you've got two groups of people both claiming to have the relics of Saint Adalbert of Prague.
Was that ever
it's
resolved?
more likely that the Polish have it.
Oh, okay.
In the year 1000, one of the saint's arms were given to Otto III, a Roman emperor. In 1127, the severed head is discovered, and it's moved to Poland where the other relics are. Because when they had purchased the body, they did not get the head.
Oh, right.
In 1923, the head in Poland was stolen again.
Oh, wow.
And in 1928, the arm that was given to Otto III was returned to Poland. So right now, everything except the head is supposed to be in Poland, maybe in Prague, but there's a giant church there dedicated to him in Poland, and it's the site of a lot of pilgrimages, stuff like that. He's the patron of Poland and the Czech Republic.
Oh,
but we have an indication there how even from the start, Poland and Hungary were both very accepting of the Christian faith, and how Prague kind of rejected it. And now today we've got Poland and Hungary being fought against by the European Union because of their anti-gay laws.
Right.
They're not really anti-gay laws. They're just saying you can't teach this stuff in school.
Yeah.
But
it's more just like, we're going to preserve our kids' innocence kind of thing.
Yeah. So this is Saint Adalbert of Bishop of Prague, died April 23rd, 997.
Well, Saint Adalbert
All right, knock
of
it
Prague,
off, dog.
pray for us.
Right. Yeah. It's weird how once the church really takes hold, kind of a reoccurring theme is corruption within the church.
Oh, that's true.
And there's always this saint who goes to try to clean it up. And, it's not successful everywhere, but it's something that God has to make happen. And it's something we hope for today to get these these American, and it's almost the whole world right now. I mean,
It
there
sure
are some
is.
good bishops, but almost the whole world is gone so corrupt, especially the bishops.
So is he
So that's all I
considered a
got.
martyr based on the nature of his death?
He
In
is
circumstances?
considered a martyr
Okay.
because he was killed by a pagan priest
Out of hatred
because
for
he
the
was
church.
preaching.
Okay.
Yeah, out of hatred by the church, for
So-
the church.
What's interesting, he is, because most of the saints that we've done so far have been from the age of martyrs, the first 300 years of the church's history, 400 years.
Right.
But he is closer to the end of the first millennium. And yet there we still have Christians being martyred.
Right. Yeah. And several times, I mean, he was chased out of Prague twice.
Yeah.
And then his family was killed when they thought he was coming back. And yet they still want to claim him as a bishop.
Yeah.
It's weird. All right. That's all we got.
All right. Well, that's a lot. 2 hours.
Well, folks, yeah, 2:20. Well, we'll cut it down some. All right, well, folks, think about what we said, and as always,
Circle his beads.
and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.